Okay, so Robert Sanders on the KidShoryuken Facebook page, he wants to know what my favorite game is that I had no expectations for the first time I played it. And the answer to that, unfortunately, it's a game I don't have in my collection anymore, or at least don't have here with me. It's still part of my stateside collection. It's just boxed up and put in storage somewhere I can't get to it. But that game would be Beyond Good and Evil. When the game first came out, I seem to recall there wasn't a whole lot of hype for it. It wasn't like a big seller, but the reviews were great. It was really being praised by a lot of game reviewers. And I had never played it, I want to say until 5 years after it was released or something. I had come across it in a GameStop. And I think they were selling it for $5 or something. I was just looking around for something to play, and here was this by that time old PS2 game that I recall reading good reviews for, but just had never felt inclined to play it. And honestly, looking at it, just looking at the cover, it didn't really jump out at me. The cover isn't anything very impressive, and I guess that's one of those instances of don't judge a book, or in this case a game, by its cover, because I bought it for cheap along with a few other games, as I recall. And when I got it home, popped it in, started playing it, I absolutely just fell in love with the game almost immediately. I loved the characters. I loved Jade and Paige, and then all the other cool little characters throughout the game. The Rastafarian rhinos were really cool. So I liked all the characters. I liked the setting. I thought it was, really beautiful graphics, excellent sound design. The character designs again were really cool. The gameplay was awesome. It was this mix of stealth and platforming and action, and then going around and photographing all the different wildlife on I forget what the name of the planet is, but that was really fun too. I'm typically not into that kind of that collecting mentality. I don't have, but for whatever reason, finding and photographing all those wild animals throughout the game, that was really fun for me. And then there were racing sequences, and it was one of those games where I actually kind of got engrossed in the story. Again, I liked the characters. I liked Jade and I liked Paige, and there's a certain point at the end of the game where it seems and if you've never played it, I guess these are spoilers, but come on, the game's couple decades old, so you should have played it by now. Anyway, there's a point towards the end of the game where it seems like Paige has died, and I got really sad. It was weird. I typically, especially then, I didn't really get that emotionally invested in games, and I didn't really get sad when characters died. It was just, there's only 2 times that happened really, and that was one when it appears that Paige has died in Beyond Good and Evil. That really kind of shook me up a little bit. And 2, in Shadow of the Colossus, when Agro, the horse, when it appears that the horse has died, it falls off that cliff or whatever, I freaked out a little bit. I felt bad, and I don't even know why, because throughout that entire game, I hated that horse. That horse just never seems to be there when you need it, and I was always just constantly waiting for that horse to show up when I'm running around, scrambling, freaking out, and the horse is where the hell's the horse? And I'd be freaking out, cursing that horse's name, but then it falls off a cliff, and I felt really bad for it. But yeah, Beyond Good and Evil, that was a game that I didn't play it when it was new. I didn't really have any interest in it at all. I kind of just picked it up on a whim because it was cheap, had literally 0 expectations for it, and as it turned out, it was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite PS2 games of all time. And so there you go, Robert Sanders. That's the answer to your question. Hey, down in the comments, what are some games that you played that you had no expectations for, but as it turns out, they really blew you away? And thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.